We've went from 6,000 to 20,000. The World Cup's next month. We went all in on that 30-day period of the World Cup. We came out the back with like 220,000 subs.
How do you do that?
The word I was using was delusional.
Yeah.
We were mental.
If you watch football content on YouTube, there is no way that you have not seen John Nellis. John's rise is probably the most successful rise and glow up of any creator I think I've ever seen in the period that he has blown up his channel.
We do everything we can. If a video can be made better, it'll be made better. Obsession over the finer details.
When you get access to, let's say, Kylian Mbappe, it'll be 10 minutes and the idea has to be approved ahead of time and it has to be in the confines of a room and his agent's watching on and you can't move from a certain location. So from an ideation
There's
perspective...
snipers at your head if you get it.
Honestly, not even joking.
Today we're going to talk about exactly how he did it, alongside his business partner Alex. Now, these two have a very unique relationship because they are truly business partners. John is the face and Alex is the brains, as they would say.
Great, it's difficult, but it's now a huge part of what we do. We hold the viewer's hand.
You need to let them see what you're doing and process what you're doing before you start doing it. So sometimes now in the hook in the opening shot, instead of it being like, how long can I stay in a football stadium? It's more like, how long can I stay in a football stadium? And it's like, slow it down so that we can show all the shots we need to show.
And as long as the hook's strong enough and the payoff's strong enough, I back us to be able to craft that story to guide you to the payoff. If you want to kind of hit 1 million, we could make videos like multiple a day, but we basically aim higher.
And we're going to discuss today exactly how they did it. How did they blow up the channel in such a short space of time? Will you be bigger than Mr. Beast? Wonderful. All right, well, thank you firstly, guys, for coming on. This is, very, very exciting. Looking forward to diving into it all. I mean, firstly, can you just intro yourselves for anyone listening?
Yeah,
go for
so
it.
I go first. Wow,
Yeah,
I'm in the
go for it.
spotlight.
Yeah.
So I'm Alex. I'm head of content for the team John Nellis, effectively. So I kind of oversee everything that goes out on the channel, shorts, long, and my job is to make things get views.
Easy job.
Yeah, and I'm just handsome.
There we go.
No,
there we go.
no,
the hard job.
I just am the face, really. No, there's a bit more to it than that.
Don't downplay yourself because you will do that naturally.
No, I think at the start, like whenever me and Alex started working together, it was very much I was really kind of the face and Alex was 95% of brains, but being mentored by the best for a couple of years, obviously now I pitch in with a lot and a lot of the ideas and scripts and different things we do. So I do a lot of that, but I think Alex does a lot more of the hard labor when it comes to reviewing edits, dealing with the team, editors, final sign off on content. When I sit at home and just send over a voiceover and chill out.
Hope for the best.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been obviously fascinated by what you guys have done. I think it's probably the most impressive case study of what can be done with such a lean amount of resources and team, but I think it's a true partnership. I mean, can you tell me a bit about how this all came together, the nature of your partnership, how this began? Because I think it's fascinating and such a unique, slightly weird setup that you guys have gone for. And jumping in at such an early stage, right, where you went, okay, we're going to quit our jobs and go all in. Can you tell me a bit about that, how it all started and how you guys set up?
I started a podcast about 5 or 6 years ago. Very much we side hustle. Nothing. I was an air traffic controller at the time, so it was very much with air traffic control. You get a lot of time off work because it's very stressful. So my 4 days off work, I would just make a podcast and watch football. And through that, I met Alex. And through making a podcast and getting a community of a few thousand people watching or listening every week, I kind of realized I should put this on YouTube. So I started a YouTube channel and started making terrible videos and just putting out podcasts and whatever else. And then through that process, Alex was a guest on the podcast and I met him. And then whenever I wanted to do a bit more with YouTube, I was like, oh, that guy works at Sky. I could probably contact him. And I rang Alex and said, I want to make a vlog. Do you know anyone who can help me? I thought it would be kind of below his pay grade. And he said, I can help you. And then we met in Barcelona. Alex bounced out the taxi. I still have the video of it somewhere. And I'm just like, what's happening? Never met him. And we went and made a vlog, which was, in terms of YouTube optimization, pretty terrible. But still, I loved the style of it. It was exactly what I had in my head. So I was buzzing. And then I wanted to work with Alex more. I wanted to just start throwing money at stuff and try and make things happen. And Alex said, let's slow down a bit. Let's work on the strategy. Let me take over your titles, thumbnails, edits, and we'll go from there. And we did that. And then I think maybe 5 or 6 months later, we discovered short form content. We'd actually left our jobs before we did short form
you
thing.
a bit too far. I think just to speak on the whole, like, us first meeting, like, you were effectively employing me as a freelancer.
Yeah.
So, like, I had a certain level of, like, I'll get the job done. Like, I'll charge you a day rate and you pay me very well. But it's ultimately, like, to some extent, if this flops, like, I've done my job.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, I'm there. But then you had the genius idea of the equity.
Yeah, I think I was actually sitting at home playing some FIFA and listening to Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO podcast, and he had the guy on who used to run the
Team Sky.
Team Sky, was it? The cycling team.
Mm.
And he had this like core principle, and it was about how you motivate people basically. And I was listening to this, and one of them was ownership. The Owen core was ownership. And I was like, I need to give this guy ownership. So I think we started out at like 10%, and then
He's
wasn't
good.
enough.
Yeah,
Then it was 20%.
yeah,
And then it was like, in reality, this should, I think it's like the whole way through, me and Alex aren't trying to like, I don't know, negotiate with each other over equity or like hardball each other. It's always been like, what's fair? And what's fair from the get-go has always just been like 50-50, all in on this together. We both left our jobs. We both went for it.
I mean, it's a huge amount of risk, right? I mean, and also to your point, you're working at Sky at this point, you're being charged, or you're charging, sorry, a freelance rate, and you're basically saying, I'll give that up to go in as a proper partner. And I totally agree that I think it's one of the things in this space that gets overlooked. I think people are waking up to the impact and I guess some of the more traditional business principles around, as you say, equity, ownership, partnership properly, because then you get into a stage of like, no, we're all in this together. And I think, on the Sidemen side, for example, like a number of our businesses, 50-50 partnerships with JV partners, works incredibly well. They're a marriage, as I'm sure you guys have found.
Yeah,
of
it's not
course.
always easy. There are ups and downs, who's pulling their weight, etc. But I think it's the cleanest model when you're taking the total risk together.
100%. I think because we had the opportunity to come in from the ground, it's so different to everyone else.
100%.
Because people look at me sometimes, and I get a lot of like, "Oh my god, you've got the best deal in the world." And ultimately, it was like,
does.
But you've got to remember the time that the deal was negotiated. It was a very. You'll admit yourself. There wasn't really much to offer, really. There wasn't much
Which is
revenue
why it
coming
had to
in.
make sense for you to do it and why you need to be a proper partner in it.
And I think as well, like, because I had built up like 10 years experience at Sky, there was a level of like, you know what you're buying here. You know what you're giving over. It's not a kid out of uni. You're kind of going to learn together. It's right. There's a lot of professionalism. There's a lot of proven track record. So you have more confidence to give over that.
Yeah. I think like genuinely, I mean this, I'm not just saying this to be sloppy and be all like crazy or whatever. I think like people think Alex is the best deal in the world. I think I have the best deal in the world because in reality, I was just an air traffic controller. No, like I genuinely, I'm just a guy. Like I really am just a guy. And I just happened to get lucky that I genuinely believe I have one of the best YouTube brains in the world. And I gave him half of it and he's just went and got me like over 10 million subs.
Yeah, but that's the power of
there's a lot of work,
right?
and I think we are like a marriage. Like we work together incredibly. We haven't really fought. We don't really fight. We've had one or two wee like squabbles when we're tired and hungry and we have a big brand deal.
Delivery ad or something. It's
But it's like
it's hot. It's okay.
But for the most part, it's like we work together amazingly, and I think we both agree that if this wasn't what we did, or if we decided to jack this in, we'd like to do something else together because we just work together well. But some people might look at Alex as being lucky. That's just because you know me as the face. When you actually see like the daily ongoings and what goes into the content and why it's successful, I'm the lucky one. Do you know what I mean?
It's like if you were to view this as any other startup and you said this isn't a YouTube channel, this is a business. Like we're running a business together. It's two business partners going to business together. Why would you do anything different?
We spoke to Seb, the side overseer, you guys work with him now. You were both at Sky together. One thing that when we were speaking, I got a sense of was that Sky team, who obviously led the channel, was sort of there for that initiation of Sky into the world of YouTube. Seemed to be like an amazing team. There seems to be some really good people there. But also he shares, as I'm sure you'll know, that sense of obsession around this. Can you tell me a bit about Sky? Like, why was it such a great kind of foundation for you to then now go and take this leap and to have the confidence to do it at 6,000 subs?
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Sky is you have so much content, so much access to top talent. So you're immediately ahead of everyone else because you've access to players, you have access to an absolute arsenal of like amazing content. So, for example, like one of the things I did, I was given control of the Sky Sports Football YouTube channel, and I was like, well, we have a plethora of incredible shows. People aren't going to sit down and watch Goals on Sunday in its full entirety. But within this guy spoke about the time that he coached someone who went on to become the next Messi or whatever. So we create like a 15-minute clip and put it on YouTube, and suddenly that kind of started building. And then like it's like, okay, we've got Monday Night Football. So instead of Monday Night Football being a 4-hour show, how about we make it like 12 clips? And I remember we had Roy Keane on Monday Night Football at one point, and I got 12 clips out, and then accumulatively they did like 7 million views in like 48 hours. And it's like, that stuff existed before. It just wasn't being utilized. So it's like, at Sky, you have like such an army of content. You just need to repackage it and turn it into something incredible. But it was just a great breeding ground because especially myself and Seb, like I love working with Seb because he shares that same level of obsession, and we're so similar in that sense. And he's always been a bit like an older brother to me. So he's kind of taught me a lot in terms of like meticulous ways to work, and I'm sure he's instilled a lot of that into me. But we fail together, we learn together, we grow, and at Sky especially, we would basically just be obsessed with how to grow these channels, and that's kind of carried on through to what we do now.
But I guess from that, you've got the confidence to know what will work, how it will work, right? You've done enough of that sort of testing and learning. So again, it makes sense that at 6,000 subs, you're saying this is on the right trajectory. You know, you've got the perfect kind of partnership between you guys. This is worth going for.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do think even when we made the decision, it was a bit mad though. I think, like, in hindsight, it's easy to go like, oh, look, we had so much confidence with this. We did have confidence. It took confidence to do it. But what I mean is, like, the word I always use, it was delusional.
Yeah.
We were mental. Like, it was crazy. It was like 6,000-7,000 subs, handing in notice to my job, which at the time was a job I loved, well paid, loads of annual leave, till I'm 65, amazing pension, gold standard pension, sort of
Perfect security.
your dream job, loved it, working on YouTube at Sky, big athlete, secure. We both had mortgages. We both had all that sort of stuff. It was a bit crazy, but thankfully it's worked out.
Yeah.
Went to plan, but that's because of the hard work that went in.
But also probably because you were delusional about it, right? And I think you need a bit of that delusional sense of confidence, and when we say arrogance, but sense of like, there's no way this doesn't work. We're going to make this
Well, you
work
have to
together.
make it work.
this is
Otherwise
gonna
you
work.
starve and lose your house.
Exactly.
Like,
It's pretty good
work.
leverage, right?
Yeah.
Success.
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
'Cause that first, we still work hard, like, but that first summer you worked mental hours.
Like 16-hour days, 7 days a week. It just had to be done, right? It's like you've got a mortgage to pay. And I think, like, go back to the business thing, it's like we have that level of accountability against each other.
Totally.
So it's like John knows that, like, if I ask him for something and he delays getting it back to me by an hour, then perhaps we've cost ourselves an hour of time, and time is money. And back in those early days, it's like, well, we can't make that video as quickly, and then it goes on and bleeds on and so on and so on. So, and even just to, I know, for example, like when we land a deal, it's like I'm making John money, he's making me money. We're both like in this together.
Totally.
We're so like inspired by that and like motivate each other.
I also just have, no doubt in my mind that that's the reason this has worked, is that sense of shared accountability. You both on exactly the same page. You both got your roles. You're both pushing forward. And I think more of those sorts of arrangements actually are like so needed for people to supercharge growth. Because again, we'll get into that and love to chat about that first summer, because I can imagine looking back on that, it's probably some like shudders and from the sort of sense of risk, but also what you had to go through. I mean, can we talk about the growth for a bit now? So obviously, looking back at it, it's this meteoric rise and this growth that I don't think I've ever seen. Can you sort of break down a little bit, how that all came together, and what was that first sort of 6K to 100K subs like?
Yeah. So we basically had like 6,000 subs built off content I used to make. And then Alex jumped in and we made, and it was in a fantasy football game, very niche content, and we were doing the best we could, but the ceiling was very low because it was very niche content. And then we decided, wait a second, we should probably branch out into more general football because that's a bigger niche. So that kind of, once we unlocked football as a niche, not just like fantasy football, we sort of left the kind of singled like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, up to 10,000s in our, like, behind us, and moved into like the tens of thousands, and 100,000s felt possible someday. And then I think through doing that, we discovered short form. That was all just posting long form videos, and then it was like, oh, short form, let's try this. I think we posted a video that we went and recorded one day, and it got like 1 million views. And it was like, we've just got 1 million views on like a 40-second video that took however long to make, and probably the edits were probably a bit quicker then, because it wouldn't have been.
Yeah, it would have been.
And it was like, we've just got 1 million views, and it gained us X amount of subs versus all this graph for long form, and it gets 6,000 views or something. And it was like, well, what are we doing? So we and this happened in the summer of 2022, just before the World Cup that Messi won. So this happened in like the August. I think from August to about September, we went from sort of 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 to 20,000 subs, which at that time was like, we've
massive.
tripled in size in 2 months. It's huge.
And Shorts was the
key,
catalyst,
100%. Yeah.
Because I guess to your point, the efficiency of that. What was the short that got 1 million that made you go, okay, this is the way for us for now?
That was, we did something in public. It was we did like an FPL deal. Is that right?
Was that? I think we did one, like, it was like, guess the player's price, FPL price, win it in cash, and it was something along the lines of like, like in FPL, fantasy football, Salah might cost 11 million. If they guessed it on the nut, they would get £11.
Right, nice.
They weren't getting 11 million.
Yeah.
So I think we did that, and it went nuclear at
Mm.
the time for us, like 1 million views. So that was that, and then we just kept iterating off that. But basically, I think I was the one who we were both very bullish.
No,
But I
yeah,
was
100%.
definitely very bullish on what, like, we've went from 6,000 to 20,000. It's October. The World Cup's next month. We need to like drop everything and go all in on this. Like the 2 weeks before the World Cup, we need to be posting twice a day, every day. The World Cup, we need to be posting every day. We need to get the ideas lined up now. We need to get the scripts ready. We need to get the edits ready so that we can just follow a crazy schedule. And we did. We went all in. We did sort of 2 videos a day leading up to the World Cup, and then 3 videos a day during the World Cup. And it was a very different style of content. We were kind of it's Alex who did it. It's Alex's brain, but Alex was the brain behind. I think we were the first people to really do the kind of, everyone does it now in football. We don't do it anymore. The split screen, graphics on top, the head on the bottom telling a story. We went all in on that. And I remember the first one that went to like a new level of virality was 5 new rules at the World Cup.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I remember it did like 13 million views on TikTok or
yeah,
something
yeah,
at the time, and it was just like you'd have refresh it and look up 50k, 100k, and it was like, what is happening? And it went nuclear everywhere, and it was like you just knew the World Cup was going to be like bigger than we even thought then. And then I've been talking for a while now, but 100k was always kind of the dream, and we were maybe in 30-40k getting into the World Cup. And we just obliterated it. And by that 30-day period of the World Cup, we came out the back with like 220,000 subs.
Wow. All from shorts?
Yeah, all from shorts.
That's amazing.
I mean, you're right. We basically just learnt short form storytelling in that period. And it's funny because like a lot of the principles of what we do today are actually still standing from those points. It's like how to tell a story, right? And that is so key.
Yeah.
For everything we do today, we're so protective over every single second, and how to make sure the viewer is guided along this journey and their hands held, so that they're effortlessly watching a story and they're going to get to the end. Because ultimately, if you don't get a viewer to the end, then you're kind of like killing yourself.
Yeah. But also, in terms of your resources and what you had to play with, the sort of split screen style content that I do a lot of myself now. It's very easy relatively to make, right? Hard to script, and all of it then is actually how do you learn the sort of principles of good storytelling, retention, etc., which are hard, especially when it's news, and some stories are interesting and some are not. But I guess during the World Cup, you can kind of guarantee that everything's going to be interesting to someone.
Yeah, it was amazing as well, because we basically had this incredible system in place where we had it all set up in Notion, and we basically would have columns assigned to like scripting and then filming, editing, uploading. And it was just John and myself at that time. We had a couple of people, maybe if they in a group, for ideas to be like, just extra people to catch an idea.
And here's a story, like there's random ones, like the Moroccan goalkeeper was there for the national anthem but didn't play the game, and commentary didn't realise the 37th minute. It's like someone might have flagged that, like, here, lads, there might be something in this, and then we'd go jump on Ocean together, write the script together.
Yeah,
I'd voice it over, Alex would edit it, it'd be posted within about 3 hours.
You were editing it all yourself as well?
Yeah. So basically what with that, for example, that's a great one, because it's like, this happened pre-game, but it got spotted in like the 32nd minute. So you've got an element of like, okay, that's your marker for when you can start writing the script. So you know that if you can get it out as close to full time as possible, once the eyes go away from the viewership of the game onto their phones, and you're there with us video that greets them as they turn off their TV, you're going to get a mad level of viewership, and every minute thereafter that's dropping off. And I learned that from highlights really in Sky Sports. It's like, how quick can you beat the buzzer? We'd be like getting the highlights through from the team, and it's like every minute that you miss off, ultimately you're costing yourself views, because that's a falling chart. If you think that, like, if you posted highlights 2 days after the game, nobody's watching them,
or the fans somewhere else, right?
So it's like there's a scale there, and it starts with the full-time whistle. And
so you were literally watching the game, 32 minutes, you start writing,
bang, script, probably scripted inside 15 minutes. John's immediately filmed it. It's in a Google Drive 5 minutes later.
All remotely, by the way.
All remotely, yeah. John's in Ireland. And then I'm editing it, knowing that, okay, if I can get this done in 60 minutes, then we can get out on the full-time whistle, and we're going to get many, many millions.
And £40 in ad revenue.
Swear to God.
Honestly,
short money here, boys.
Nothing then.
Yeah.
Like the whole World Cup, we did something like, I might be wrong here, this was 2022 as
400
well. 400 million views. It was more than like Sky Sports, BT Sport, the England national team, all these combined. We got 400 million views, and I think our YouTube earnings or
Yeah.
something, like, because they used to do it there, they would pay it out quarterly, or
Yeah.
I think we got like $5,000
Oh, great.
for
Yeah.
400 million views or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
And it
Yeah,
was
so
like,
that's a
at that
secret
time we
and a
were
half.
like, this is a payday.
100%.
Mortgage is
Yeah,
sorted,
it wasn't.
boys.
Yeah,
That's it.
I've always loved the metric of like you paid what you're worth, though. So it's like if you put me on a structure, which is it's like if I get more views, I get more money. Cool,
Happy days.
I'm gonna get more views because if you put me on a salary, like most people, I'd never coasted because I haven't really got that in me. But like most people would coast, and I think like you put the commission or the ultimately like the AdSense in this model. It's limitless. Like in theory, you could earn £100 million. Not gonna happen.
Well, that's it. But that's also why it's so powerful to have incentive structures that are. I always like personally to have like infinite sort of structures where you have set up, but people can see that actually that if this goes insane, I could be personally earning an insane amount of money. Therefore, I'm going to put in insane amounts of work, right? And it makes sense. Going back to short form and the 400 million views, obviously you guys kind of, I guess by the end of that, like thought you cracked the code. Obviously you had for short form, you probably worked through so much volume. But then the question becomes, okay, well, and I remember this at that point with shorts, how do you then translate that into long form? So what was that leap from short into long form where you go, okay, we understand the principles, now we're going to try and make 10, 15-minute videos?
Yeah, it's a totally different system. I think like it's the reason why there are some incredible long form creators who struggle with shorts and some incredible short form creators who struggle with long. And I think like to give ourselves credit, we're probably in a really small pool of people who pull really good views on both. And it's there's so many different learnings to take. Fundamentally, it's all storytelling. Like if you can understand how to tell a story and guide a viewer through on that journey and make sure that what you're kind of taking them towards is satisfying along the journey, but ultimately there's something at the end that you want, that you're kind of like holding in your back pocket, which you can make sure that you give them and is satisfactory as well. So leave the video on a nice note. They share a lot of similarities, but it's long form's a lot harder for me. Like I could write you a powerful script inside 15 minutes probably for a short, which could probably go on and do 100 million views.
I have the chance of it, yeah.
Yeah, like for example, the Adidas short, which I'm sure we'll come on to, like I remember I wrote that in 15 minutes because I've got a really strong hook, I've got a really strong payoff, I've got a really like satisfying journey on the way. It's so long.
We're so dialed. Like we'd be sitting, we'd be sitting in the car on the way here or something, and one of us has an idea. And
thinking hooks.
thinking like, oh, that's amazing. And then I'll go like we just voice it to each other. Or like I'll jump into VO mode where I'll be like, but then this happened, and then I turned the corner, but but then this happened, and then I went here. It's like, but we can just like you kind of see
it right now. It's
like,
so great.
I don't know if you give us the hook, we could probably go like, okay, well this is what that looks like.
Yeah.
So if we can think of a really strong hook, it's like then you can think of like, well, how are we going to rehook them? How are we going to keep them throughout? What adversity we face? What sort of funny tidbits can we throw in? And what's the ultimate payoff? We can just do that. So like.
That's why I love shorts,
now.
and I'll probably never put it down from like, for example, if we was to pivot to long form and get tons of views, I'd still keep shorts because shorts I just love, and also the growth mechanism is just too crazy to ignore.
Well, let's get into some of that because I've always thought that all social really, and YouTube is separate to social, but still carries 3 S's in my mind. It's stop, stay, and satisfy. To what you said, it's like getting people to stop, getting people to stay, and satisfying people in the view, and then that's all. That's easier said than done. But the principles are pretty straightforward. The hard bit is how do you align what you want to tell and your voice and you with those 3 things, and then over time get good at them. I mean, how many videos do you guys think you've made together now? To a point of being dialed, you've crafted on those 3 things. You probably know if I said, how do you get people to stop? Okay, this is exactly what we do. How do you get people to stay? This is our formula. And then how do you satisfy them? I mean, how many videos have you done now between you where, in order to kind of get to that point where you've just got it dialed?
Probably over 1,000, yeah.
We definitely,
right.
We got a lot of reps in early. Like we were doing 3 a day in that World Cup, and then we thought we were slacking when we dropped it to 2 a day post World Cup. And then we got to the stage where we said 1 a day is probably enough. And then we went to 5 a week, 4 a week, 3. And now we're down to even 2 or 3 a week now.
Yeah, and that's because the quality of the idea gets better, right? There are only so many 150, 200 million view ideas out there, really. Whereas if you want to kind of hit 1 million, we could make videos like, if we had the resources, multiple a day to do it. But we basically aim higher. And I think everything comes from Mr. Beast in this world. But Mr. Beast once said, it's easier to make one video that gets 200 million views than 10 videos that get 20 million views. And ultimately, the same result is 200 million views. But what's the harder thing to do in terms of resource? It's much, much harder to make 10 videos than it is to make one video that's really, really good and well considered. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at what point within that 1,000 video journey did you think, okay, you are now at that expert level where you've just, again, got it dialed?
Probably too early.
Too early. I
think
we've known. This just sounds bad. Maybe it comes across bad, but we've known where we're going for a long, long time, and I'm slowly finding people who are turning onto it, and it's like, we could have told you this a long time ago. There's a lot of people who supported us on our journey, and I'm very grateful because they saw it early, and it's like, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, like,
no, please.
Whenever we were like mid kind of storytelling, talking head, split screen shorts, like we did think we were like amazing. No, like when I look back on it, I'm like, you were off your game.
Yeah, I agree.
The content we made at times was a bit tabloidy.
Yeah.
It wasn't stuff that I would look back on like with my son, and I'm not going to be like in 3 years be like, oh, you need to watch these videos I made. It's not stuff I'm particularly proud of. It was amazing for us. It taught us a lot. Got the reps in. A lot of people enjoyed it, but it's not content I'm like, oh, that's great content, I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
And then, but as Alex says, like, I think we dreamt of 100,000 subscribers to the point that when we got 100,000 subscribers, we got a photo shoot at a football pitch with the 100K.
Actually, you've probably got that since the beginning of this podcast, Joe.
Yeah. We honestly dreamt of it, and then got it, and it was like, let's go out for dinner, let's get a photo shoot, let's get the plaque photos around where I lived, where the plaque was amazing. But then I think very quickly, because we were like, as we had that plaque arrive, we had 250,000. We were like, okay, we know we're going to get to 1 million if we just keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah. When
we got to 1 million, we had another party, and I thought, there's a chance we get to 10, but it might take 5 years. But there's a chance we get to 10. Alex was a bit more bullish on it, which was great. But then it's like, in a year we got 10, and now I'm like, I don't know if we'll ever do 100.
Yeah,
I actually don't think we will. But then I felt this way when we were at 1 or at 10. So I'm like, maybe we will. But
yeah, I just think we constantly try and improve, and I think like my biggest thing is that knowing that like we're not perfect and we'll never be perfect. And if you take that mantra into everything you do, you're basically, all you're doing is getting better every single day.
Yeah.
And
with 1,000 videos, that compounds pretty rapidly, right?
Yeah. And we just, I back us to continually get better and continually invest more and continually take risks. And I think that's kind of stuff which has been a massive part of what we've done. Like we would make like, let's say £1,000 on a short, and we'd give it all away on the next short, because we not only would we back ourselves to make the £1,000 back on the next short. Some people would go, but you've made no money. Like, I made $1,000 and I just gave it away. But it's like, okay, but if you do that and you staircase, and also the optics of that, John Nellis is giving away £1,000. Wow, he's the football Mr. Beast. And it's like, well, they don't realise that we gave away the grand we just made. So loads of people would go, why have you done that? But it's like, it's that risk taking of like, oh, we believe that if we give away £1,000, that will make the video do better, which will again staircase you to be bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then back to Mr. Beast, he is now at the level where he gives away millions. So it's you don't get there without that.
100%. But his business is not, I mean, it's only just, I think, turning a profit. If now, I mean, he's bought an ECO to do that, and you're making hundreds of millions in revenue. But that's because it all goes back into the machine of the whole thing. And it's incredibly commendable, I think. And not a lot of people would be willing to do that, which is why you get those outsized returns, I think. I mean, one thing I want to get into with you guys now is a bit about that sort of the science of that growth. And you know, we talked about those 3 S's and, you know, all the different points of what makes a good video. But I think with every video I watch of you guys, retention is probably, if there was one word that's like probably tattooed on your arms, or it's just sort of the, you know, the real kind of drive of the whole thing. How, like, what goes into making the video so retentive? Like, you keep people, I'm sure, for a very, very long time, and that's incredibly intentional. I love what you said before about holding the viewer's hand. And whenever I watch your videos, I feel like I can just sit back in my chair and just like let it unfold. There's no mental energy that has to go into working out what's next. You take people on that journey. Can you just break that down? Like, what is the retention science that you apply to all of the things that you do?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of secret sauce. I would say we've written somewhat the playbook on how to tell these kind of short form stories, and I've seen it be like taken into different niches and stuff. A lot of people emulate what we do, sometimes a bit too closely.
I've seen that a few times.
Yeah, there's a good few copycats.
Is that John? No, it wasn't John. Okay.
No, but I think we've got it so dialed, like John says, that we hold the viewer's hand, like you say. I think that's the best way to place it. It's like the viewer should be able to get taken on the journey and have all the necessary context they need, be satisfied along the way, know that we're working towards something that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, or maybe there's a time element that's coming down and there's that pressure and we know where we're going. It's like, I know what the end point looks like here. So we are just kind of like, we have this locked, and like John says, you can come up with a single hook now, and as long as the hook's strong enough and the payoff's strong enough, I back us to be able to craft that story to guide you to the payoff, because it's so dialed. And we have systems in place that when we're scripting, it's like logical.
Yeah, it's quite formulaic.
Yeah, it's
not like, oh, let's just start writing.
Yeah.
It's like, here's the formula. Does it fit the formula? Yes, it fits the formula.
Therefore, it's
that's a great
yeah.
note. Is that, like, I've seen a lot of people on like iPhone notes be like, I'm going to script a video, and it's like, how do you know that line 4 offers what you need it to offer? Because you're kind of just like messily crafting a story, whereas we know that we literally have like purpose of each line that's crafted along a table.
Yeah,
and it's like, our videos typically come out like 50 to 60 seconds, and every single line that is in there, like every single line has a purpose. There isn't a word out of place.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like there's so much intentionality with every, like even the way that you deliver the lines. That's why I also mention is like, obviously, yes, you can have a great script, but delivery is so fundamental to something working. I also think you guys, the way, like even the pacing of your voice, it sounds like really forensic, maybe you haven't thought, but you know, I guess it's very easy to understand, but also there's distinctiveness because of your accent. There's so many things. I mean, how do you find in terms of delivering these scripts? Because obviously, yes, it's formulaic and forensic, but you have to then bring your personality to it to make it human and connect. How do you do that?
The script's written and I just read it out. I don't know, it's lots of reps. Like, I think it's about, you know, sometimes I'll get a script sent back to me like, redo this line, please.
Very rarely though.
Yeah, very rarely, but it's because I maybe don't have the context of what image is on screen or like what shot we got for that. And quite often my voice just has to portray how the audience wants, how I should feel or how the audience should feel. So if it's tense or if it's excited, or sometimes a shot's a little bit longer, so I need to slow down how I speak slightly. But yeah, I think it's almost like voice acting, isn't it?
Yeah, but this is where John's maybe playing himself down. Is that, like, if John wasn't a YouTuber, like, he could be an incredible voiceover artist
100%.
or a narrator or something, because like your voice is so great, and we get it all the time. The comments just flooded with, oh my god, your voice.
Like people try and copy
the intonation.
your intonation.
And
I've noticed that a lot. And this is to the point where you're very, very good at what you do, because people are trying to copy, like, and maybe for you it's your natural voice and it's just the way you deliver it, but it works so perfectly because it's clear, but also it takes you on the journey. There's enough emotion in it. You're passionate. There's so many points in it actually that just from like maybe an overly analytical point of view, I think this ticks all the boxes from a delivery perspective.
This is great. I'll stay here all day.
I know.
Almost the way you say that, it's rhythmic.
Yeah,
it's almost like music.
Exactly.
Where it's like da 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 da. Like if I'm just making those noises, you know what I'm
That's
getting
my
at.
voice.
Yeah,
that's my whole
but
thing.
It's like I'm saying like, oh my god, be interested because of this. It's like it's the same kind. It's tone, it's music, it's that kind of stuff. And I think you do it maybe so naturally now that you don't think about it. But
it's reps though as well.
Yeah,
and that comes out of videos. You see, because honestly, you see if you go back and watch the first videos, they're so slow.
Yeah,
like I swear, it's so weird. I even look a bit. I'm a bit heavier than bigger beard, but there's videos of me sitting in my chair in my studio in Cork when I lived there, and like I don't know, but like let's just this wouldn't have been a video I did there, but I might have said it like this, and I went like, how long can I stay in a football stadium before I get kicked out? And then, but now it's like, how long can I stay in a football? And it's just like, and it's like now you just kind of get the like, we're just much quicker with it and much more emotion and much more, I don't know, but yeah, it's weird. You get a lot of copycats who like, they can't really copy the accent. Maybe they try, but they can copy the intonation.
I've heard it tried. I'm pretty sure I've heard it tried.
They definitely do the intonation and the like. Yeah, it's just the way I speak, which is weird.
In terms of pacing, it's an interesting point. So how much of an impact is how quickly you deliver a line? How much of an impact does that have on retention, do you find?
I think we just try and deliver things as fast as it's coherent.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't want it to be like, I'm talking about this and everyone needs to understand what I'm saying because it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
But like, I go as fast as I can while still delivering the point.
Yeah, because like everyone tends to think, okay, fast pace, quick cuts, but you actually need to deliver a line at the right pace to be able to understand it, right?
Yeah, that's something you started making more. But sorry, I started going very fast on the hooks at one stage because I was like, get the point across, get it going quick, and then I was like, no, we need to let the point land. So like, you need to let them see what you're doing and process what you're doing before you start doing it. So sometimes now in the hook and the opening shot, instead of it being like, how long can I stay in a football stadium? It's more like, how long can I stay in a football stadium? And it's
Yeah.
like, slow it down so
Yeah.
that we can show all the shots we need to show
Yep.
to land the point.
100%. And make sure that, like, if you're bringing emphasis to a certain item, it's like for example, we did a video with steak. It's like, can I cook a steak in a football stadium? And it's very much like, I do the voice as well in the intonation. I've got it locked.
Yeah,
but ultimately, it's like emphasis there is on steak. But
Yeah.
you need to also make sure that people understand that you're trying to cook it. So it's like, can I cook a steak in it? It's like making sure that, okay, what are the key beats here? Cooking a steak in a football stadium. So make sure that you deliver those lines well. And then it also pairs with, okay, what does this hook look like? How busy is the shot? Is it visibly clear in a football stadium? If, like, for example, this gets a bit forensic, but like with a thumbnail, rule of 3, don't know if you've heard people speak about this, of course, but like, let's not make it crowded for the sake of it. Let's simplify the scene. So can I cook a steak in a football stadium? You need to see Johnson Stadium, you need to see him, and you need to see the steak, and potentially a method of cooking if you wanted to get a bit jazzy with it. So everything else is noise. So can we dial this back and make it really simple?
And almost the thumbnail then emphasizes the core like principles of the video or the core words of the video, and it has to like land it so that you're then drawn in. But if you, to your point, if you, everyone does it, or so many people do it, overcrowd, make it too complicated, then you miss out on the simplicity. I think that's one thing as well that I think with your videos, you nail the balance between like the visual storytelling being quite like complex scenarios that you have to get yourself in to be able to do that, and a lot of production and work, we can get into that in a moment, but very, very simple concepts that are universally understood. And that's how you could probably say, well, this can get to 100 mil.
Yeah, 100%. Like, for example, with a steak, it's like you couldn't do, can I cook a Brussels sprout in a football stadium? Right? And that wouldn't do 100 million views, because ultimately, how many people in the world know what a Brussels sprout is?
Even just within that video, we call bovril meat drink.
Yeah. And that's so deliberate.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
deliberate.
Everyone can understand that.
A lot of people don't. Bovril were probably raging if they saw that. Like, why did they drop our name?
Meat drink,
I was like, it's so weird saying meat drink.
Yeah.
But it's like, meat drink is what it is to someone from Vietnam. Maybe it's not like, what's bovril? You know what I mean? So,
100%. Yeah, so we think of that, like we think of reading age, we think of globally accessible words in everything we do. Like every script is massively analysed for that. So, and that's a great example. It's like, does a 6-year-old from Vietnam know what a bovril is? No, okay, but they would know what a drink is, and they know what meat is. So you can probably put 2 and 2 together that you know what a meat drink is. So it's thinking like that to make sure everyone is invited to the conversation. And I've spoken about it before. Like, let's say you're at the pub and someone's talking about their friend Dave from work, and they kind of don't give you enough context, and they're talking about him because they know him really well. But then you're on the edge of this conversation saying, this doesn't interest me at all because I don't have the necessary context. So with all our videos, it's like making sure everyone, whether it's the first video, second video, 100th video they've watched of ours, understands exactly what's going on at that point in time.
Yeah, there's no implied knowledge. There's no.
No.
And we also don't assume that anyone cares about me. That's a random thing. I've just went off on a tangent with a bit. But like, I think a lot of content creators do stuff that's like, they make content that's a journey about them, or something where it's like, you need to care about that person to care about the video. None of our videos rely on anyone having any relationship with me. Sometimes we've done that in the past. Sometimes it's went well, sometimes it hasn't. But stuff like, I ask questions when we do stuff like, how long does it take me to run from Anfield to Everton? Or how long does it take to run around a football stadium? It's like, why does anyone care how long it takes this random fat guy to run around a football stadium? Like, why does anyone care how long it takes me? You know what I mean? Maybe if I'm the fastest marathon runner on the planet, it makes sense. Or if like I'm a notably fast guy or something, but maybe that's a bad example. But
you might say in that, like, you might say like, how long does it take for me to run from Manchester United to Manchester City? You see, I'm just an average runner. Or you see, I've never ran this far before. So it's like, okay, ultimately then I know that John is an average runner, or this is going to be difficult for him. Or
Google Maps says it should take 22 minutes. But I want to do it in half that time, whatever it is.
For sure. It's like, but you are right. Like that's where we are quite similar to Mr. Beast, where Mr. Beast, I often feel like, is almost like a supporting actor in his own videos, where like the 100%. Idea is the star.
And you can get a sense from him and also from you that like the ego is removed, right? And then kind of the emotion, I think, actually is removed. It's so much about the game than it is about you scoring necessarily, that you're able to take out the emotion and focus on, okay, to your point, what if you removed yourself, what will work at global level and have the most impact and work, and then you become part of that journey, but it's not all about you. And I think that's again a massive reason why you've just gone insane, because there is, and I think a lot of the time actually with content, it's a challenge of how do you match what you want to do and your own personality, your own maybe sense of I want to be this style, whatever it might be, with then the content strategy that you're trying to get out. And it's the matching of those two things that's a bit that takes maybe 1,000 videos to get over, where you go, okay, we've tried that, maybe that didn't quite work. Okay, where did the growth come from? It came from detaching myself and making this for the 6-year-old in Vietnam.
Yeah, and I think what's so interesting in our relationship is a lot of the time I'm making decisions on behalf of John that are the correct decision, that maybe if John was making, and you would never do this because you're so like chill, but I know I would do this because I'm perhaps more vain, is I would maybe not use that shot because I looked like I had a double chin. But
I have no way of avoiding that.
But if, for example, it's the best delivery and it's the best take because the security guard
take the emotion out,
it's just the best decision.
Yeah.
And ultimately, when someone else is making that decision for you, you don't get the opportunity to effectively be like, no, I'm going to make the wrong choice. Because it's always the right decision that always wins.
Something I always do, and I keep catching myself doing it these days, is I sit and talk when we brainstorm content as if it's not me who has to do it. It's a superpower, and I'm not doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
It's this weird, stupid thing I do, and I keep going like, oh yeah, and it would be really like the best way to do that is to do this really socially awkward thing, and then you shouldn't have to do this, and then it gets to the shoot day, and I'm like,
oh wait,
I didn't think it's through.
Yeah, it's me, isn't it?
I have to cook a steak in a football stadium, or I have to go up and ask them to cook a steak.
Yeah.
It's like,
and I think that's to John's credit, is like that's where he sits above everyone else, because you will do not anything
morally right. I don't think anything we do. That's the thing. I'll do anything for views as long as it's lighthearted and morally okay.
Exactly.
I don't think cooking a steak in a stadium where there's 20,000 empty seats and we've bought 5 seats for us and a few other people and buy a load of Bovril and whatever else, small bit of money
meat drink,
in the club,
thank you very much.
and we get a meat drink, and we get more views on that stadium than all the other content this year combined will get. I personally think that's a net gain for football. So I will morally stand over something like that.
Yeah.
Game is gone, but I'll stand over that.
Game's gone.
What we wouldn't do for views is things that are like morally wrong.
No, of course. And we've actually, like, that's been a big part of our strategy. Like, podcasts always take detours, but our strategy from the up has always been like, how do we pass on a good thing that gets handed to us? Like, for our biggest long form that ever went large was I invited a stranger to play football at Anfield. So for example, John got access to play football at Anfield and had a spare ticket. Instead of me taking it, it was like, okay, how do we, like, this is the dream for any Liverpool fan. It's like, that would be absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Content creators get invited to play at football stadiums quite a lot and perhaps quite numb to it. We at the early stages weren't, because we hadn't done it, but still we understood like the gravitas of this. So it's like, okay, instead of me doing it and just having a day out, let's go on Anfield Road, the street next to the stadium, and go to the person who's a diehard fan who lives in the shadow of the stadium every day and would never have the opportunity of even stepping inside, like outside of match day. And you get to go into the changing room, you get to meet a legend, you get to play on the pitch, and we get to tell this story. And like, it's genuinely giving me goosebumps now. Like, the idea of being able to give that experience to someone who would never get it. I think we both love that kind of like mantra in our content, and we like morals are a big part of what we do.
Good. Totally. And to your point though, you talked about access. I want to get into access, right? Because that's, I think, one of the things that I remember, I think Jimmy saying one time in a pod maybe, that the big thing on YouTube is trying to do things that people just have never seen before. And obviously for you guys, I think that's a big part of your strategy as well. So how do you apply that to football? It's like, what are things that people just haven't seen? And obviously with that comes access. So how important is access and navigating the industry of football and the people and the characters within it to making the content that you make?
It's both good and bad, I would say, because, for example, like with access, it becomes a lot more restricted. It's huge for what we do, but when you get access to, let's say, Kylian Mbappe, it'll be 10 minutes and the idea has to be approved ahead of time, and it has to be in the confines of a room, and his agent's watching on, and you can't move from a certain location. So from an ideation perspective,
there's snipers at your head if you get it.
Honestly, not even joking.
Like, so you can only think within constraints, and a lot of the time, like, there are constraints. And so the idea, for example, when we brought a stranger to meet Kylian Mbappe, I believe that was just about the best thing we could have done in those limitations, because we told the story and did all the hard part ahead of time, and then we utilize our 5 minutes, 10 minutes with Kylian Mbappe to spend 5 minutes in the company of a guy in a blindfold, where, again, going back to retention, you're not going to leave until his blindfold comes off. So it's great, it's difficult, but it's now a huge part of what we do, because we rely on the players' names a lot for packaging.
Yeah.
But equally, we have strands where not having access is part of the fun because
Yeah, that jeopardy.
the jeopardy.
Quite
vibes.
often, like they're two very separate sort of like ideas with access, ideas without access. Two very easy buckets. The ones without access, you can have a lot more jeopardy, which adds a lot more maybe tension and stakes to videos. 100 hours to meet someone, for example. When we do those, there is genuinely no tap in or like surefire way we are going to meet them, because and that jeopardy is what makes the video. Whereas when we know you have Kylian Mbappe for 7 minutes or whatever, it makes it a lot more restrictive. In terms of like, just to talk more broadly, this isn't the Mbappe example.
Yeah.
If you're getting access through a player directly and their agent, which very rarely happens, but I think the bigger you get, the more likely it is to happen because they see the mutual benefit of them getting 100 million views of them looking like a great guy.
Not going to do
or
that at
girl.
250,000 subs, but
Yeah.
at 10 million.
Yeah, whenever you have 10 million, you can go, look, pretty confident we'll get 50 million views in this and you're going to look like a legend. Of course they're going to want to do it. And I'll call to your house and I'll be out of your hair in 8 minutes. Like, why would you not do that? So that's the best case. Then you go through the club. That's pretty good because then you've just got the club and the agent who you have to deal with. You go through a brand. You have to go through the brand, the club, the agent, and the player probably. And there's like 3 or 4 parts there where any creative idea someone will have a problem with. Or you can go through like a league, club, agent, player. It's just like nightmare. So it's just like you'll always get something to work, but quite often it's borderline impossible that at times certain players, certain clubs, certain brands, it can be impossible to do something that you genuinely stand over and are like, this is top content.
And
What's been
so
this-
selective.
Yeah. I was saying, what's been the smoothest access that you've had in terms of that relationship, where it's been the limited amount of friction, the best sort of sport, if you will, in on the day? Who's been the easiest and most straightforward one?
I think
Man
Man
City.
City. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Man City are phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they just
They
won an
really
award
get it
for
on
it.
this
They
space,
just
right?
They're amazing and the team are
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Like it always comes back to people, right? It's like if you meet the admin of Man City or the head of social for Man City, like they have the keys to invite you. And for example, they gave us access to meet Nunez, Gundogan, Carson, and Ake.
But they've also put us in like position to say hello or goodbye to the players after a match and stuff. Now Haaland was injured and De Bruyne was injured and a few big ones were injured, but still, either Bernardo Silva and Jack Grealish and all the boys are coming out and you're giving them a hug. They have the keys, but they're also they're perfect to work with and they get it. And because of that, they give you the players, you go and get tens if not hundreds of millions of views. Whereas whenever people put more constraints, make it harder. The views
And I guess
will reflect that.
totally. And I think with City specifically, right? I mean, Haaland's now opened that whole world up. I mean, what did you think of him obviously launching his channel? Because I think it's been one of the most fun things. I love it. It's so funny. And I think what it shows, right, is that the dial's changing and the window of sort of what's maybe acceptable is moving. And I think more and more creators, more and more players becoming creators shifts and I guess opens up your world more to theirs, and actually it becomes beneficial for everybody. But also the best players in the world have to make those steps first because they're the ones who aren't going to be scared. I mean, Haaland's not going to be scared about getting fired or getting punished, right, for making a YouTube video. What was your thought on that?
I think it's amazing, and I think he's done it really well. Because obviously a lot of players have come to the platform before and maybe missed the mark slightly. But Haaland's basically gone, okay, I'm going to roll a camera and tell a story. And it's easier for him to tell a story because he has that kind of invested audience. He's the kind of person we would usually trend jack off of, and he is him. So it's like he has the window into his lifestyle and he can effectively roll a camera on a day in his life, and it's incredibly captivating. But I'd say he, like anyone who starts a YouTube channel, is only going to get better as well. So it's quite frightening in terms of if he has the right people around him, he can scale this to dizzy heights, and he has a USP that is far greater than we have. So I think incredible because although I really enjoyed his first few videos, his thumbnails missed the mark, and that they can be better.
I was going to say, if you were running that channel and you were head of don't do this, but if you were head of content for Erling Haaland, what would be your advice? Like, how would you make it better? And what would be your sort of strategy top level for him?
I mean, just on the video that he posted, which was the day in the life, there was
give us an hour, Erling, and then he'll
yeah, please,
Yeah.
Too busy, doesn't actually reflect what's in the video. It's got a photo of him on the pitch at one point on the right hand side. Quite simply, you should really just do a split screen thumbnail in that situation where you have him lying in bed on the left of the frame, or him in an ice bath that's like a jarring thing, and it says like 5 a.m. So you go, okay, that's the start of his day. And at the end of his day, it's like him cutting into a ridiculous steak, or him at a barbecue with a giant steak, and it says 9 p.m. So you go, okay, this thumbnail conveys to me, this is what happens at the start of Harlan's day, this is what happens at the end. He had too much mess on there, and there's 3 different elements, not proportioned right, the composition's off, and he's going to learn.
Second one was better.
Yeah,
Second
for sure.
And he did it was the Halloween one.
Yeah,
and that was like a much nicer,
amazing. And the content is just so good that like, even if click-through rate's down, the AVD will be up, and YouTube will go, okay, that kind of balance is slightly less heavily weighted towards ABD, but it's so strong that of course I'll keep pushing it. But if he can boost that click-through and keep you watching for as long as he does, God, he's just going to dominate the platform.
100%. Talk about packaging, because obviously that was a big part of your answer there. What goes into your packaging, like how you put that together? Because I think it's, as you say, incredibly clean, but you can tell that not as much work has gone into the packaging than it has the video, but so much has gone into making it simple, but also making it captivating. So what goes into that behind the scenes for you guys?
A lot. And I think we have continually underestimated how powerful thumbnails are and titles, and we're growing every day, and that's like a learning that we've taken, is that I think now we understand how powerful they are, but equally in a year's time I'll think they're more powerful, because you can never underestimate them. They are so ridiculously powerful. The example is so obvious, but if you wrap the PS5 in tinfoil and put it under a Christmas tree, and then you wrap a carrot in a beautiful box, which one would you pick? I'm going to pick the beautiful box. You open it up, inside a carrot, and there was a tinfoil wrapped PS5. So it's like the cover is so important, because if the cover's bad, then no one's going to see what's inside the box.
Totally.
And yeah, effectively, we're now getting really strong with our packaging, and we're being so protective over it as well, because we are now in the fortunate position where we've moved past the early days of like fighting for every penny, and we now have a bit of runway, so we can stop on a video and go, no, we're not going to make that video, because you don't have to, because in a month's time, this opportunity is going to arise, and it's going to be so much better that we don't need to sprint out the gate and get a video out the gate, which is going to be a sub-performer, just to fill a hole.
Yeah, no, makes total sense. And I think it's probably overlooked by a lot of people still, right? Just how important that's going to be. I mean, looking at ahead as well around TV, YouTube being, 32% growth this year on big screens, up in the file size limit. You must have got excited about the upping of the file size limit. I mean, for example, take the Ronaldo video that you guys just put out. What goes into making that thumbnail? Like, what's the process behind that in relation to the video?
Interestingly, that's an iteration of a previous thumbnail, so that's an easier one to produce. So the stuff on the Messi one is probably a more interesting conversation. So it's effectively like, we know we want to do 100 hours to meet Messi. Okay, how do we package this video? And we won't go ahead and produce this video until we have a example of what a thumbnail and title looks like, so that we can go, okay, this video is worth moving ahead with. Because a lot of the time in the early days, we would get really excited about the idea of maybe getting access to a certain game, and we'd go, oh, look, we're going to make this video, and we really want to do this thing where we race from the top of the country to the bottom. And then we'd make the video and we'd go, oh, okay, why do we package that? Oh, it's actually not that great. And then it goes out and it does not amazingly views. Maybe it's like 700.
Have you got any examples of any of those where it's just not sort of matched?
Yeah, so we did that exact thing where we raced from Newcastle to Bournemouth with starting with a penny, and we had to earn our way enough money to get down to the game, because we had 2 tickets to the game. And the packaging for that video is poor. And still is poor. We should probably get it repackaged to see if we can lift the views.
It's just hard to even conceptualize.
Yeah, what would you do?
Even do?
Yeah.
There's more you could do. I'm sure we could come up with something better now. I'm sure you could come up with something.
But why is it poor?
Because, like, okay, the element that you have to portray there is the journey. You need to make it clear to people who are outside the UK just the level of distance you've travelled. So let's say, for example, Nico Milana has done the video where he's raced from one end of the country to the other, and he's done a penny as his kind of starting point. So I, in the early days, was maybe a bit too hung up on, like, not clickbait's a bad word and it's been demonized, but it's just what you need to do in this game, as long as you deliver satisfaction to the viewer. So Nico had himself on top of a train hanging on for dear life, and his legs are flailing behind him. I wouldn't have gone down that route in the start of the day, because I'm like, okay, no, I want to make it clear that we didn't jump on the back of a train or whatever. But now the optimal move perhaps is to do that, or to have, like, for example, John in a helicopter holding a penny as he flies over the map, which displays you the distance. And although we didn't get a helicopter, what you've done there is you've taken a proven case study of Mr. Beast. He's got a thumbnail concept of him in a helicopter. It's been used time and time again by lots of different people when he did his island video, I think. So we could have replicated that because it's a proven concept. YouTube has told us already people are inclined to click this. So we have the data to suggest we should do this as well. So that's probably the route we should have gone down. And Seb and I would talk a lot about this back and forth in terms of packaging, and he will help me get to the final result, and we go back and forth, and it's like tweaking this element. And now, to be honest, with the change in thumbnail A/B testing, I'd say, to be honest, give it a go, man. If you think like sticking John in a blue t-shirt rather than a black t-shirt, back in the day, a few months ago, we would have had to go, I think this looks better because of like, I want to draw color theory towards Messi, who's in a pink shirt, and if I put John in a black t-shirt, then your eye's more likely to be drawn to Messi, and then the eye line of Messi is looking towards John, so you're naturally going to be drawn to John, and then John's looking to camera, so he's conveying his emotion, but there's not too busy a scene. Okay, fine, but try it in a blue t-shirt, and it might surprise you. And we've now got the luxury of doing that, really. So we can just iterate, because the perfect thumbnail exists, and it's never on a video because you can always make a change.
I think it's something just on the clickbait point recently that we kind of struggle with, again, coming back to like, no, I don't know if it's even a moral thing, but it's like, we're not particularly comfortable with clickbaiting. And if we go and do something crazy, so I'll give you an example. Let's pretend we go and do something where we spent 24 hours with a Premier League footballer. Do you just slap Haaland on the thumbnail? More people will click it. But when they come in, they're going to realize it's not Haaland. Or I asked 100 footballers for a hug. Do you slap Ronaldo, Messi, Yamal, Bellingham, all the biggest ones on the thumbnail? Because they might be there. One or two of them probably are there. Or do you just show the best 5 that you actually got? And I think, like, for the past few years, we've been so sacred over like delivering to the viewer and like not clickbaiting. Every single other person clickbaits. Other people clickbait where they say they meet Ronaldo, or they say they meet Messi, and they waved at him from across a pitch, or they looked at him as he walked down a tunnel. Loads of people have done that sort of thing. We don't do that, but it's a question like, should we do that? Because that'll get more views, which will pay more. And what's the ultimate game here? Is it about getting more views? Is it about satisfaction to a viewer? Like, what is the ultimate goal? And I don't think we've really necessarily made a complete decision on it yet.
No, I think for example, like when you take the I hugged Ronaldo, is like the dream scenario, right? Is you actually do it, and then you ultimately, you've got the perfect thumbnail which you've conceptualized,
which is the actual picture.
Okay, how do I deliver that and actually make it happen? You would never obviously title a video I hugged Ronaldo if you didn't hug Ronaldo, because it's so explicit as well, which is what I love about that title. Is it's like, you can't lie about that. It's so factual. It's like such a big statement to make.
But I think in the meat thing, a lot of YouTubers will go, I met Ronaldo, and they haven't met Ronaldo.
Yeah, but the thing is,
they'll say, I met Messi, and they didn't meet Messi.
But the difference there is that meeting someone is so like
you
subjective,
could say,
right?
If you waved, he looked back at you.
I had got a load of rubbish.
But there is open to more debate. Whereas hugging someone, did you hug them or did you not?
Yeah.
To what degree did you meet them? I guess would be the thing where someone could claim that they met them even if it wasn't, and that gives ease for the video. Whereas to your point, hug, and that's why people they do so well, right? Because what do you mean you hug? Like that's again, there's a moat around that concept because it's something that people just have never seen before. Again,
but then there's ultimately as well, like going back to the testing, like we tested on a video. I asked Ronaldo for a hug and had like, I think 13, 14 different variations of that thumbnail with different expressions between Ronaldo and John, and different kits between Ronaldo. To see whether, okay, opening the curiosity gap of like, I asked Ronaldo for a hug, the viewer's like, okay, well, how did he react? Did you hug him? My theory on that was that would win. And I was surprised to see that I hugged Ronaldo won, because I thought there'd be more curiosity to have to find out the answer. You need to click the video. That was my theory. And then it's like, again, going back to like, you're going to be wrong sometimes, but being objective enough to realize that you're going to be wrong. Yeah. And then I've taken learnings from I hugged Ronaldo to move us forward in future videos that will benefit us. And now my titling approach has changed a lot. So I'm kind of being a bit more direct and trying to condense what we do. And rather than having like, let's say a 40 character title, can you tell a title in 3 words?
How long do you take on a title? How many versions of these, like in a Google? I could just imagine a Google Doc with just
yeah. I mean,
reams.
honestly, 20,
Probably
30.
depends on the idea. Some of them are just so obvious.
and there's only so much you can
Yeah,
do.
we and now that we iterate off of bangers, we effectively like 100 hours to meet Messi, and then you go 100 hours to meet Ronaldo. It's like that video actually only has one title.
Yeah.
Because we know it's going to be served to the people who watch the 100 hours to meet Messi video, and you're swapping out Messi for Ronaldo. It's proven concept, proven thumbnail, proven title. You don't need to mess with that.
Yeah.
But then if you're going to come up with something from the off, well, I say there's 20 to 30, like there's a lot of like dead wood in there that's basically helping you get to the final one. And then you might have like 2 to 3 which you're maybe curious about, one which you're like, no, this will win. And then that will sometimes surprise you.
Yeah. Look, we talked about Seb. You mentioned Seb. I want to get into team a bit. Who are the different characters behind the scenes of what you guys do?
You want to speak on this?
Go for it.
So obviously it started out with just myself and John, and the kind of relationship was that I'll do the production and the ideation. Now it's grown to the point where John and I are just constantly chatting about ideas, and I don't really think there's I'll get this right. In terms of short form concepts,
I won't get annoyed.
No, I was going to say, in terms of short form concepts, we have such a strong grasp over it, and when we speak about it, I know that you'll say something and I'll be able to understand whether this is a huge video. And likewise, when I say something, you'll be able to understand whether it's a huge video. We have such a strong grasp. And we've gradually grown the team. So, for example, now we've got in-house, we've got a short form editor, Jacob, who works alongside us and works alongside me every single day in the office. And
you have an office?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's basically a cupboard in Reading, which Jacob and I work out of. So effectively, that process would be I'll script the short, we'll go and film it, and then I'll come up with a storyline and basically just dial down that script, and we together, Jacob and I, will match the shots to the script. And then once I've locked in the script, I'll say to Jacob, okay, here's your basis, go and make it pretty, effectively. And that's the beauty of that. And that's perhaps open for a longer conversation, is about the fact that Jacob's been with us for
2 years?
2 years now, maybe even longer, and has come straight out of uni and was an absolute sponge.
Was he your first hire?
Yeah.
So your first hire was a shorts editor?
Yes. Yeah, perhaps too early as well. And
that's interesting though, that actually like you were so dialed in on shorts. Obviously going back to what we said before, that like the first person you hire, I wouldn't imagine for most people would be a shorts editor, but for you it was.
Yeah. So I remember I spoke to a guy at Fantasy Football Hub, the CEO, Will, to name check him, because he's been a big part of our journey. He gave us our first break almost. And when I was speaking to him, I said, oh, shall I hire an editor? And he was like, you should have done it months ago, because if you free up that time, it's so labor intensive that if you get back 8 hours
of course, because you were editing yourself.
Yeah, and I still edit. I still edit, and I've spoken to like Will and E about the fact that I edit, and he's just like, you're a maniac, because he's just said you shouldn't be doing that, and maybe it's me being a bit too much of a control freak. But
I agree,
have
but
my hands
disagree,
over it,
because I think there's so much to it. But I think in terms of what we do, it's like the reason it's so successful is because Alex is all hands over it. And I always say, like, everyone, I get so many people, like YouTubers I talk to and stuff, who are like, how do you do it? What do I do? What do I need to change? I need to get a videographer, man, I need to get an editor. And I'm like, you need to learn YouTube. Go and get an editor. See, if you don't know YouTube, you're going to get no views. Go and get a videographer that can hold the camera great. See, if you don't know YouTube, you're going to get no views. You need like that. And if you don't have that, you need to go and learn that.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, it's all very well us going and saying, oh, we'll delegate the editing. It's like,
you
but
can't.
the editor won't have a clue about
also
how to make
speed, pacing, all the things.
There's
And also
so much to
there's
it.
no one you can't take what's in there and just put it in another editor. So
Yeah.
Alex is going to have to be all over it anyway. He's going to have to rinse the edit. He's going to have to adjust everything. So I disagree. I think like getting an editor, having like a Jacob's great, but like you couldn't go all in on scripting, all in on ideas, all in on all that, and just hands off editing. That'll never happen. And if that happens, we'll stop getting the views we get. So I don't know. I just think like
moving into conversations about other stuff that Jacob does, like we call him the dub daddy, because he's just an absolute master of AI dubbing now, to the point where there's probably very few people in the world who are as good at AI dubbing as Jacob, and he's a 25-year-old kid.
handsome, looks like Romeo Beckham.
There we go.
Yeah.
We love it.
So like he does loads of stuff for us, but he's kind of like our shorts editor and dubber and uploader and all sorts. And my goal really was to train him to be like a mini me, because he can be a sponge. He's not coming in really with any other ideas. He's coming fresh out of uni with a limited level of Premiere Pro knowledge, and I'm going to teach him how I do everything. And as a result, everything is then edited in my tone of voice.
Yeah, but to your point, John, Alex needed to do that in order to clone himself. Like there's only one of you, yes, in terms of time, but also like you need to put your print on somebody really. Otherwise, you're gonna, to your point, you'll be spending double the time fixing things. And actually, with him now, you've got a shorthand, speeds up your process, but it's still you, and you're still integral to the whole thing. That makes sense. So okay, we've got Jacob. Who else?
So we work with Seb as a freelancer, effectively, as a YouTube strategist. And Seb's like an extra brain for us. That's the way I view him. I say to him a lot of the time, he's like my PT. And I think it's a funny way of phrasing it, but let's say you're at the gym and you're on the treadmill and a PT is telling you to run for 30 minutes. You probably would have wanted to get off for 20, but they're helping you get to 30. And Seb's the same kind of thing for us. He holds us to that high level of accountability. And a lot of the time we utilize him for edit feedback. So he'll see V1 of our edit and he'll help us to effectively go, oh, that actually kind of bored me around this section. Or if you had this level of graphical work, you could assist the viewer in their journey to kind of follow the storyline better. And he's amazing at what he does. So it's like, I love working alongside him. He has that same level of obsession that we all do. And he's brought in, even though he is an outside body, what I love about Seb is he just goes above and beyond as if he is just one of the team, and he is one of the team. Like he's in our group chats, we're pinging ideas all the time. He's so invested. We have a Christmas night out, he'll be there. Like he is part of the team, but he's part of many people's teams.
How important do you think it is to have that external validation on YouTube? Because it's something that I've been thinking about a lot, that having somebody who's not seen it, not been close to it, who can come in almost to represent the viewer, but also with the analysis and the brain around, behind them. How important do you think it is to have that person sort of validate what you guys are doing?
I think it's very helpful. It's a luxury, but we're in the position now where we can surround ourselves with the best people. And if, for example, Seb can find a 10% increment that increases a video that was on 10 million views and takes it to 11, for example, or even more. There'll be examples of videos like 100 Hours to Meet Messi where he came up with the concept for that thumbnail. So who's to say that's not a 5 million view change on a video if we'd have gone with a different thumbnail? So what I love about that is that we don't need to know what that other outcome would look like because we're always dealing with the best, right? So we have the luxury of working with Seb because the funds are there. But in the early days, people couldn't afford, let's say, like a talent and a me and a Seb and maybe an editor. We were at the position now where we can we can reinvest into the business to that level. But yeah, it's quite unusual for creators, especially this early on the journey.
Yeah. So we've got two.
No, a few more. Okay. So we have Josh, who's recently joined us as a long form editor. So the same logic applies really. Like I'll lock in all the storyline, I'll build the structure. I'll go and film everything with us on the shoots, and then I'll bring that footage back once I've built out the storyline and pass it on to Josh with minute by minute notes, references. Here's an example of how someone has done something here graphically. Let's try and build something similar. And the aim with that was to effectively do things that I can't, because I'm not the best editor in the world. I'll never be the best editor in the world. I simply don't have enough time. So the goal was to basically take someone whose job is solely an editor to find ways to do things more effectively, more efficiently, and to level up what we do. And he's edited the last few long forms and has allowed us
relatively new then into your team.
Yeah, into the last 6 to 8 months. He's allowed us to do things that before I couldn't have done, or I would have done, but I would have gone a dodgy way around it. And any real editor would have gone, why have you done it like that? You've done it all in Premiere Pro and you've used Photoshop assets. You could have done this in After Effects and it would have taken you a quarter of the time.
Because that's one thing I've also noticed, like the level of like VFX especially, like and those little points, but they're so important to just handhold, like having the names pop up and also follow the person, or having just a little touch, or having, obviously your cards where you'll go through the different levels and see. When we were speaking to Seb and on his episode, we were talking about, pulling people through through levels, like having that sort of that satisfaction had based on just going through step by step, and having even in the Ronaldo video, having, you know, all the different players you met, all of those things, those cards. And again, for somebody who's a good editor but not a great editor, that, you know, probably takes too long.
It's laborsome, yeah.
Right.
That effectively, like building out like 100 players on a graphic, like anyone who's an editor would understand that you've got effectively, how do I explain this to a big viewer? How do I explain this to like an entry level kind of listener? But you have an asset, you place a center screen, it might say 1080, you move it left by 200 pixels and it says 880. You have that on 100 occasions to build a triangle. It's like maths. Like so many editors are probably better at maths than you'd ever expect, because they know how to position these cards perfectly and they're all uniform. And I'm really big on that. Like everything needs to be perfect and in its exact position.
Clean, neat, simple.
neat.
Yeah, and making it easy for someone. You don't want people to think, where's that? Why is that over there? Like any of those moments of strain pull people away from that satisfaction.
Yeah, and it's a laboursome task. So for example, I can say to Josh, like, here's what I want you to do, and a lot of time it's like a really messy like drawing or something, and it's perfectly understandable what I want you to do, but I don't have to actually do it to explain it.
Yeah.
And then he'll go ahead and make it happen, and that then saves me lots of time where I can be across briefs and script and ideate and manage Jacob and so on.
Yeah. So long form editor, short form editor, Seb as a freelancer, and that's it.
Oh, we've got a commercial team as well.
Yeah.
So we've got a head of partnerships.
So about 6 of you in the whole thing.
Yes. Yeah. And then my fiance helps with accounts as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's because it's crazy, right? You've got such scale, and you compare that to Mr. Beast, who has, I think, 300 people in his team now.
300?
His HR. I met the woman who runs his HR. I think it's about 250, 300 people. And he has, I think, well, I know for a fact they buy houses and flats for everyone he works with. So he has about 70 houses which are bought for the staff. I mean, it's crazy, right? And you know, and then Sidemen, the team's about 50 people. We've got 6. So it's like the kind of size difference in those scale. But then for what you guys have been able to achieve with such a lean team is immensely impressive and commendable. I mean, how do you feel about like the tightness of the whole thing? Do you think that's a reason partly why it's been so successful?
Yeah, we're nimble. We're not corporate. There's no levels of like
We've got
approvals and all that.
Are there ambitions for that?
Absolutely none.
I have no doubt. Well, not that I've no doubt, but I feel like we are in a position where we could go and start more channels and put other people on as the talent, because we know the formula.
Yeah.
I have no doubt we could run a food channel and get it to 1 million subscribers in no time, or a car channel, or a pick other big niches channel, lifestyle, whatever. I have no doubt we have the formula. No, I would just be piggybacking here, like, but there's no doubt we could do that. But that just means managing loads of people and working 24/7, and I don't know, it just doesn't appeal to either of us. The management, just be nimble, go and do cool stuff, get loads of views, make some money while you're at it.
Yeah.
We're very happy on what we're at, because there's things we're sleeping on. Like, we know we're sleeping on a product. You know, in terms of the amount of views we get on a CPM model, we provide way more value to brands than they necessarily will ever pay for, because who's going to pay based on a 100 million video? Or like, they're not. So we have so much value there that if we had a product, but we don't want to do something half-assed, we don't want to do something we're not proud of. If we had the time and if we had the correct product, we can put that in front of hundreds of millions of people every month. That's an opportunity. But we don't really have
we don't have the
skill or the time or the...
That's not our area of expertise.
No.
I love working with people who are experts. And it's like, my favourite thing to do is to outsource something in its entirety to someone who's better at it than me.
Go for it, guys.
Like, you're amazing at what you do. Go and do it for what we do as a business and level up what we do. So if someone came in and they could effectively be like ahead of, like...
You need an MD. That's the role in a corporate sense. They just great.
Yeah.
We've felt like so much about products and stuff. It's like Nico's doing shades. Like, we could have done sweets which were like little football shapes and football boots, or like we could do something else entirely, a drink.
My one advice, by the way, from our cuts, sores, bruises, doing this for how many years, don't go into physical products.
Oh, really? I thought they're all doing it. Everyone's doing it.
I mean, again, we have a restaurant, cereal brand, vodka and trading cards. I would stay away from physical goods. Reason being, over the years of doing this now, I think the silver bullet is actually digital scaled products that can hit your audience globally, and content-led products. So products that have the ability to obviously scale via content, but also products that can be sold directly via content as well.
Give me an example.
So for example, mobile apps, games, software, hugely untapped. eSIM, interesting one, like those types of things, because your audience is so global, you want to be able to hit everybody. And the problem is with physical, the minute you start getting into shipping, tax, like you're dealing with a lot of headaches. The only way to do that is with a scaled global partner, but and there's a way to do that, but at the same time, with retail, the margins are so low that you'll probably sit there going, well, hold on a minute, we made more than we've made from however much time and effort that has to go into that thing from content. And actually, you've got the silver bullet.
That makes a lot of
sense.
sense.
And also, I'd say one thing is like, don't get dragged into the notion that you need to do, like, you have the thing that everyone wants, which is YouTube dialed. Like, YouTube is where everyone's going. I would actually focus entirely on either content-led products, memberships, streaming, etc., Side Plus, that type of thing, or digital products.
Oh, super interesting.
Oh,
Yeah,
we
and that's
need
the
you.
thing.
We need someone to come in and do this because
Yeah.
we're sleeping on something.
Yeah, 100%. But the biggest thing is that like we're effectively running a startup, right?
Totally.
And we're learning every single day. And like when I was at Sky, I never managed anyone. I have no management experience,
It's a dream, man.
and I'm not a very good manager, right? In terms of, maybe Jacob would say that he has a really cushy life, right? And I try and give that to him, and that maybe that's my skill in terms of management. But I'm not good in terms of like structural PDPs and making sure, hopefully like, inadvertently by trying to be a nice person, I'm a good manager, but I don't have the playbook and I've never studied it.
Yeah.
It's
It's a totally different, but that's also the thing where like creators need to create and do that.
Yeah.
You need someone to do the rest of it because the rest of it is freaking boring and there's nowhere near as fun.
Yeah.
And also it's mentally a drain. It's like, I think business and scale is like a death by 1,000 cuts unless you have people in there to take it on for you, because otherwise you get caught up in all these little minutiae, these small details, meetings, whatever it might be, and all of that stuff will drag you down from the mission, which is content. And you've got honestly, like, YouTube is like in a position where I don't think any of us realize just how big this is still going to be. I'm really of the belief that this has got 100x what it is now.
Yeah.
And those that are leading the way in terms of numbers and in terms of prominence, also craft, are going to fly for the next 10, 15, 20 years. All the money's moving into YouTube. You guys are literally like pole position to have, I think, the leading football publishing business on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that's why I think there's a bigger conversation around ambition and also around structure and what some of those pieces, and happy to obviously help and sort of suggest what that could be, because we've done it with the sub. And I think, there's an opportunity for you guys to totally do that and own it for the next decade. It's way big. Honestly, all of this is going to be so much bigger than we all think.
Yeah. No, it's incredibly exciting.
It does feel that way. There's so many reasons it feels like that. Just even in terms of like, it just feels like times are changing with so much of like what people view as like celebrities. I think creators are viewed as like creators and very accessible and fun, and we are just a guy.
Yeah.
But like, I'll be on shoots or I'll be at things, and there'll be someone who is a radio presenter from wherever, and they almost have this like celebrity thing about them that maybe creators don't. And it's weird. But I think like in 15, 20 years, 30 years, the way we've always viewed actors growing up, maybe the kids of today will view YouTubers when they're 30, 40. And like the times will change where YouTubers become, in a weird way, much more stardom than they are today.
We're seeing that 100%. I mean, like, the celebrity is dying as a concept, right? Because of this saturation of new characters and new personalities. So there's no scarcity anymore. I mean, all economies are based on scarcity principles, right? So the more scarce, the more valuable generally. So when you have celebrities that existed in a vacuum where there was just them that you looked up to, now there's countless people that you can connect to and like and enjoy. So they've lost their relevance, which is why in Hollywood, talk about this quite a lot in my own stuff, but Hollywood's really struggling because stars don't sell films like they used to. No one really cares. Had the video the other day of Kim Kardashian having a breakdown about not getting into the bar, and the comments are entirely negative because people are like, I'm over this, right? I've found a whole world of new characters to connect with, which means that sort of old guard doesn't have the pull that they once did. And I think for me, it's more with you guys and with what you've got. Imagine if you had, TV as it currently stands in the mainstream, where that is going is to YouTube for the next 10, 15 years. Imagine if you were early with the biggest channels on TV today. So imagine if you had ITV right now and you had the standing start to have that for the next era. Like you guys have the equivalent of Sky Sports, maybe, right? For the next era on YouTube, if YouTube will become TV, which it already is becoming. So that's the way I would look at it. It's more like actually TV channels. You have one of the leading TV channels in the world in what you do. Treat it like a TV channel and like a publisher.
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
That is like, when I say generational opportunity, I mean generational.
No, I think
genuinely,
this is super interesting. I think like if we were to go that route of scale, I think it's being objective enough to realize that I'm not that person at the top 100%. Of the tree anymore.
And you shouldn't be.
Like I should be where I live, and I should never lose control of the content. but then someone can sit above me almost as like then a CEO of the business or an MD.
That's what you need.
So
not maybe it's not now. Maybe it's like, look, you guys are crushing it, but I'd say don't rule it out, because you have this like massive sort of, you know, you're way ahead of everybody else. And I think I wouldn't want to see you guys lose out on that potential by virtue of the natural feeling of the prospect of scale is terrifying. Because I get, of course, that's not what you guys are made to do, but that's why you're successful at what you're doing. But now you're sitting on this publishing media machine that could be turned into, I think, a generational business. So it's just worth having that in mind.
Super interesting.
Who do you talk to for that though?
It's really hard.
Yeah.
But I think what you'll see,
what do you do?
What you will see is, and again, happy to just like help you guys structure what that could even look like. But you need people who are from the corporate world, who understand this. So if you look at who's furthest ahead, obviously I'd say Sidemen are furthest ahead in Europe in terms of corporate scale. Mr. Beast in America, he just hired a guy called Jeffrey Hausenbold, I believe, who, I mean, a CV of CVs if you want to see, right? Yeah. You've got Darman Studios, a guy called Sean Atkins is the CEO there. He previously ran MTV. You've got a guy called Andrew Yaf, who is the CEO of Do Perfect. He was formerly head of content at the NBA. So you've got these sort of senior people who are coming in, and I think what you're going to see is over the next 5 years or so, America's always further ahead. You're going to see this transition from big media into the world of creators. So you're going to have the pick of the bunch. So I don't think it's something to rush, but it's just have the mindset of, okay, we'd be open to an MD CEO type who can then go, right, your job, build the business. We'll take it. I mean, that's what we are really that's what we've always been for the Sidemen. We're effectively their fractional C-suite, and they've had 3 of us from the beginning with myself, Sam and Aaron. And Sam runs finance, I run like creative strategy and growth. And it's almost subbed that out. So then we can just go and build. And that's all we do is look down. I have done look down, but up in a business sense. And they just look up on the content.
Yeah.
It works really well. So yeah, one to think about.
No, we're always learning. There we go.
Yeah. So how does your business currently break down for you guys?
I think as times
keep looking at
change, as times change, we're now working on more brand partnerships, and we're fortunate enough to work with some huge brands. Like we've done deals with Adidas. What can I say? When's this going out?
Oh yeah, I don't actually know if we can say any of the brands.
We can bleep them if they're not.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of brand deals at the minute with like proper global household names.
It's amazing.
That like I never thought we would have worked with.
Yeah, it's amazing, and we're at the position now where we can kind of go, okay, what's the best like brand fit for us? Who do you want to align with? And that works really nicely. So that's now become a larger part of our business than it ever was. Because in the early days, it's like scrapping for every penny you can in the YouTube system. And we still do very well in terms of YouTube ad revenue just because the sheer amount of views, of course. But we now can market these views to brands, and they pay integrations not only in our short form content, but also in long form. So we have kind of 2 arms to the business there. And then we're also getting into elements like TV campaigns and usage of this man's lovely face. And stuff like that we maybe weren't selling before. So there's lots of untapped markets.
Yeah, that's a weird one as well. As times went on, obviously, as we get bigger and as I get more recognizable and more people just want you at an event, getting paid to go to an event.
Fine.
It's amazing.
Go to eat food and drink.
Yeah, like, without actually having deliverables. That's really fun.
You just want me to show up? Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Happily.
So that's a new thing.
Yeah. How have you found obviously you said you were just you were air traffic controller, normal guy. How have you found the sort of fame that comes with this? I remember, again, Mr. B said about being recognized at different levels, and like 10 million, you get recognized, I'm sure, a lot, right? How do you find that?
I think it's just, I'm just used to it. I expect it now. It's just part of life. But it is like, it's a lot. Like it's everywhere I go. It's every cafe, obviously not everywhere I ever go, but I mean like, if I go out in public, I will probably, if they don't come and say hello, the thing you learn as like someone who gets recognized is you can tell when you've been recognized, and people think they're so subtle, but they're looking at you, and it's the triple take, and they look at the phone and the bump of the shoulder to their mate. It's like, even if I'm not getting approached and asked for photos and stuff, it's like I'm getting recognized all the time now, which is amazing because that's part of it. The only times I ever like, I'm a bit like, ugh, is if I'm from the sun and I'm at like a swimming pool is the worst now, because it's all like,
I don't want a picture right now, guys.
Young lads who are into football, but normally the picture's fine. People come and ask for a picture, and like, oh yeah, no worries, man, let's do it. And you have it, and there's like a natural exit point. Thanks when you're watching the video. See you later. See when you're in a pool or something.
You can't escape.
No, they're just like, you're like in your boxers and you're in swimming shorts in a pool. Let me just sit and talk to you. But no, it's been a bit of a learning curve, but like it's all part of it.
Yeah, and I guess I want to get into a bit about the future, right? So like, if you were to sort of explain the mindset behind how you both have done this, I want to answer from each of you. How would you sum it up in one line? Like the mindset that's got you from like jumping out of 6K all the way up now to nearly 12 million.
I know his.
What's yours first?
Mine and his is probably the same thing. Alex's is going to be best in class, and I think that's ultimately the same thing for me. There's two things. So best in class is we never take shortcuts. We'll always do what's best for the content.
Yep.
And even if it means that 3 seconds of a video take 2 hours to produce, it's the best for the content. Therefore, it happens. No shortcuts. And on top of that, I think it is just the unrelenting, obsessive. Like we were both very lucky in like our lives with Alex's fiance, my wife, our families. Like we've all the support to just go all in. There's never like, oh, I can't make it, mate, because of this. We're all in. So like we do everything we can. We take every opportunity we can. If a video can be made better, it'll be made better. If we need to sit in a call and talk 3 hours about something that's going to be 30 seconds on camera to make it better, we will. Just ultimately all in, obsession over the finer details to make the best we possibly can. And at the end of it all, in 5, 10, 15, 40 years, we will look back and be like, I don't think right now if we look back at any stage and be like, we could have done more. I think it'll be the same in 40 years.
Yeah, every video that's ever gone on the channel to me is complete. And that means that it's been obsessed over to every single granular detail, every single thing that could have been done to improve it has been done.
We knew. We won't always get it right.
No, of course.
You know, we still put out 10 out of 10s, but like we put it out and we learn.
Yeah.
You leave nothing on the table.
You can't settle. And again, it comes back to the point of business. It's right now we have the runway, so that, for example, a video that we were cooking for a long time was the Ronaldo video with the hugs. So it's titled I Hugged Cristiano Ronaldo, but the journey is hugging 100 footballers on the journey to meet Ronaldo. So we had the 99 hugs locked from May, and the video went live in October. So effectively you'd think, why? But because we knew that if we get the final hug to be Ronaldo, instead of, let's say, for example, we had Thierry Henry on, and we could have used him as the final player, and all due respect to Thierry Henry, there's a multiplier there. So I hugged Henry doesn't do as well as I hugged Ronaldo. And it would have meant you probably have to fall back on I asked 100 footballers for a hug as your title, and you work towards Henry, who's not as great to pay off as Ronaldo. So ultimately you have a multiplier there. So we have the fortunate position of being able to delay a video by 5 months to make it better, so that once it goes out, it's the best version of itself. And now we have that drilled into us, where we didn't have that a few years ago. So we just won't release a video until we believe it's ready to go live.
Yeah. And looking at the future, where does growth come? What does growth look like for you? I know you were saying, not getting to 100, but I don't think that's by any means impossible for you guys. I think it's totally genuinely doable. I don't think, even if you just did the maths right on your growth rate, it's only going one way, right? So what does the future look like? And also in line with, the World Cup next year, what does the next sort of year look like as well for you guys?
From a growth perspective, like we're continually learning every single day about like metrics to convert subscribers. Like that's something that we're obsessed by in terms of like how to turn someone from a passive viewer into a subscriber, and methods and wording and terminology and techniques and scripting and all these kind of things. And we've got some dialed now, which we know convert at, let's say, for example, a 2% conversion rate. So if you get 100 million views, you know to some extent you can expect. No, that's not
2 million.
No, the maths is wrong.
The 2% is wrong.
Yeah, the 2% is wrong. 0.2%.
Yeah.
So we know that a certain line in a video turns something from 0.2% back to 0.1 or 0.05. So we know that like those sort of tactics are really successful, and we have them in our locker, but it's unlocking more of those. Okay, how do we not just feel static and just deliver the same line every time, because we know the kind of results it offers? Like, can we think of other techniques and try them out? And we're constantly doing that, trying new ways of phrasing something or integrating something. Integrating, let's say, the subscribe call to action earlier in the video when you know there's more people watching. If your retention is like 95% at that point versus 90% later in the video, then ultimately you're pushing that subscribe call to action to 5% more people. But in doing so early, you're potentially offering your viewer the chance to leave, because every subscribe call to action sees a drop off in retention. So it's about, is it better to offer that subscribe call to action right at the passing moment of a video, or is it better to bring it in earlier where you have that high percentage?
It's all about priorities. Is it views or is it subscribers?
It's science, it's like data, it's analytics.
The 100 million thing, actually, interestingly, on that subscriber point, converting subscribers, 90% of people don't subscribe to our channel. And we've got like 10, 11, how many million have we got now?
11.
11.8.
11.8. we have over 100 million unique returning viewers a month. And it's like, if you just get them to click the button, they're all 100 million out there. So,
true.
true. Just get them to click the button, but that's the hard part.
Yeah. Final question. Will you be bigger than Mr. Beast?
No.
No.
Do you want to be?
No.
Not
Well, yeah.
really.
Yeah. Not in terms of scale and employees, but like, if
Yeah.
you told me we could have 500 million
Yeah.
subscribers,
Yeah, of course.
But we don't actually like actively strive for that because we don't believe that's really possible.
And we know it's what it takes to kind of get there. And in terms of, it comes back to the conversation of scale and then deeper conversations about what happiness looks like and stress and all these kind of
What
things.
you're willing to do for that scale.
Yeah.
You probably say, well, I know, to your point, I know what 100 million video looks like. I know what 100 million subscribers look like, but what is it to actually get there?
Yeah.
Is that going to just ruin my life?
Exactly. And we have an amazing like relationship and amazing life, and our work-life balance maybe is tilted too far in the work stage at the moment, but
marginally.
But I wouldn't want to tilt it further.
No, I want to see my son, I want to see my wife, I want to be at home.
Yeah, we
have a family.
Yeah, have a
I wanna
life.
do all that.
Totally.
Live my life. I don't want to work all the time. I travel a lot as is. I don't want to travel. I'll travel a bit more if I have to, if the payoff's there. But no, I don't. I don't want that. Like, obviously, we will do the best we can. And also, the other thing is, we're in a football niche. We're not in the Mr. Beast kind of. I don't even know. He's in everything. He can do anything. Entertainment. But like, yeah, I think anyone would take it, but we don't want necessarily what comes with 250 employees and all that stress.
And if I ask you this time next year, World Cup would have been finished, how big do you think you'll be after the World Cup?
Oh, that's a great question. I think given that we're doing about like 500k subs at the moment off 400 million views, I think we can do 2 billion views in a month at the World Cup. So if you just 5x that, then probably 2.5 million subs in a month. It's doable. I think
the World Cup will
the World
be
Cup's
generational for us.
It's going to be ridiculous.
Our previous track record of international tournaments is silly.
When you weren't good at this.
Yeah, we went from
now you're really good at
40k
this.
to 200k. At the Euros, we went from the Euros, we got more views than we'd ever seen, and now we 10x what we did at the Euros. I think the World Cup opens up a whole 10x, 50x. I don't even know what the multiplier is, but the audience for football content might 50x in the globe. I think like for us, it should be about harvesting subscribers in, because get them all in, get them in.
Yeah. Love it. Right, I think it's a good place to end.
20 million.
Thank you so much.
20 million. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, it's brilliant.
No,
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Not at all. Thank you for watching. If you love that video, I'm sure that you will love this one too.